Welcome to COBOL Tutorials. This video will focus on the steps to create a dynamic Word document to use as a Word template in Dynamics 365 for customer engagement. The Word template is a powerful feature allowing users to create custom documents and reports with dynamic data from the CRM system. The steps provided here assume you've completed all the steps in our previous video on system setup. If you've not already done so, open the Word template document downloaded from Dynamics 365. On the Word ribbon, click Developer, then click on the XML mapping pane in the center of the dynamic ribbon. In the XML mapping pane, on the right, click the arrow in the drop-down to switch to the Microsoft-CRM Custom XML part. Note that the remainder of the name on our tutorial says Invoice, but will be different if you selected another primary entity. The right panel will update, and you will see the drop-downs for both Document Template and Invoice. Click the triangle to expand the Invoice drop-down, and you will see all the fields related to Invoice in Dynamics 365. You'll notice that the options are the schema names, rather than the display names for each field. While most of the time you could sort it out based on the display name, there can be a few tricky ones. You can always navigate back to Dynamics 365 and look up the schema reference if you're unsure. It is important to select the correct field, as that is how the template will know which data to pull later. I can now create the content of the document template. For this example, I will start from scratch, but you can certainly copy a document template into this document from the default Word templates or online options. For this document, I want to put some basic information about the invoice at the top, so I'll start with the invoice number. Since this number will be different for each invoice, I want this information to populate dynamically. So I first put my cursor where I want it to go and type invoice number. So I have a heading. Then I go to the XML mapping pane and right-click the schema name invoice ID, which I can place next to or underneath my heading. You will see the Insert Content Control task and will need to click the arrow to see full options. For now, select plain text, as that is the only one that will work for this feature. You will see that the text populates on the screen. You can manipulate the size, color, and font just like any other Word text. Note, though, that simply typing invoice ID there will not work. You must go through the Insert Content Control step for this to work with Dynamics 365. As I mentioned in the video about system setup, you can add fields from related records. Let's say I want to add the contact customer's first name. Scroll all the way to the bottom of the XML pane and open the drop-down next to Invoice Customer Contacts. This will allow all the fields from the contact record to appear in the XML pane. Scroll down to right-click the first name, which is the schema for the first name field. Click the arrow on the Insert Content Control step and select Plain Text. The Word document will update with the dynamic field to be formatted if needed. Now, I want to add a list of the products associated with the invoice, and to do this, I want a table, since there could be more than one, and I'll want to display the whole list. Click Insert in the ribbon and click Table. Then set up a table with 4 columns and 2 rows. I can use any additional formatting as desired, but for this tutorial, I'll keep the default settings. I can then type headings in the first row to identify what data will be included, such as the name of the product, the cost, the quantity, and the total amount. To add this information dynamically, highlight the second row. Then, on the XML mapping pane, right-click on the invoice details, which is not expanded to show all the fields. I still see the Insert Content Control, but the only related option this time is repeating. Once clicked, I see the same insert icon from the individual fields on the right of the table's second row. This means that the system will pull details from each related record in Dynamics 365 into your table in rows. Now I can expand invoice details in the XML pane to get access to these fields. Place the cursor in the first column and right-click Product ID Name. And then the same Insert Content control and plain text selections apply. Place the cursor in the second column and right-click Base Amount. Insert Content control, plain text. Put the cursor in the third box and right-click Quantity. Insert Content control, plain text. Finally, put the cursor in the fourth box and right-click Extended Amount. Insert Content control, plain text. You can add static text to the document as well. Here I will provide an address to send payment to. Save the template. I will select Save As to save it to my documents instead of the download folder. But as long as you can retrieve it successfully, it doesn't matter where you save the document on your desktop. I like to provide a more user-friendly name, since that will appear in Dynamics 365. For this, I will say Customer Invoice Test, and make sure that the file extension is docx, which for Word documents should be the default. We will cover uploading the template to Dynamics 365 in the next video. Thank you for joining us for COBOL tutorials.